Hello my dear friends, you're on the Military Summary channel, and today we will discuss the situation in the world on the 21st of March of 2026. Today we have a lots of very interesting updates, so let's start. And first we're going to talk about the United States of America, because the President of the United States of America, Donald Trump, made a lot of very important statements. Today he said that we are getting very close to meeting our objectives as we consider winding down our great military force in the Middle East with respect to the terrorist regime of Iran, completely degrading Iranian missile capabilities, launchers and everything else pertaining to them, destroying Iran's defense industrial base, eliminating their navy and air force, including anti-aircraft weaponry, never allowing Iran to get even close to nuclear capability, and always being in a position where the United States of America can quickly and powerfully react to such a situation should it take place, protecting and at the highest level our Middle East allies, including Israel, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, Kuwait and others. So these are the objectives of the Epic Fury operation, and telling the truth, and according to the current situation, we can see that the United States of America has completed this objective for probably 95%. The Hormuz Strait will have to be guarded and policed as necessary by other nations who use it. The United States of America does not. This is the second very important statement made by the President of the United States of America, and you will understand why. If asked, we will help these countries in their Hormuz force, but it shouldn't be necessary once Iran's strait is eradicated. Importantly, it will be an easy military operation for them. So, and right after the President of the United States of America made this statement, he clarified the situation. He said that we don't use the Strait of Hormuz, we don't need it. Europe, Korea, Japan and China need it. They will have to get involved a little bit. So these are very important statements made by the President of the United States of America. And the thing is that the United States of America, according to videos we received, according to everything we have right now, indeed managed to deal significant damage to the state of Iran. And now, according to these objectives, they can leave these territories without any consequences for them. But from the other side, when the President of the United States of America told us about the objectives of the United States of America, now the Iranians understand what to do next, with the purpose to force the United States of America to stay in this region. And the most important, currently the Iranians are interested to force the United States of America to begin a ground operation. And right after the Iranians realized the objectives of the United States of America, they made three important steps. The first one is that Houthis announced that they are entering the war, between Iran and the coalition on the Iranian side. And according to information we have, the Houthis are going, and they have already most likely blocked the Strait of Mandeb. So this territory is blocked by Houthis without any chances for any vessel, for any tanker that has connections with the state from coalition have any possibilities to cross this area, which obviously first of all will push the prices even higher than they are right now. The second thing is that, as we know, the Strait of Hormuz is already under complete control from the Iranian side, and currently nobody can cross this territory without a certain permission from the Iranian side. According to information we have, the Iranians announced something like a fee for passing this territory. Iran has started charging fees for ships passing through the Strait of Hormuz, organizing a safe corridor for approved carriers. According to Lloyd's List, according to the publication sources, one operator paid about £2 million for the transit of his tanker. So this is the second thing that happened today, right after the United States of America revealed its objectives in this, let's say, Epic Fury operation. And the third, and probably the most important thing, happened several hours ago. Japan has agreed to pay Iran in Chinese yuan in order for its ships to be allowed to pass unharmed through the Strait of Hormuz, which means that Japan is the first state who made this decision. But obviously we need to understand that in coming days the entire Asian region will do the same. Every single single country, every single state in Asia will begin paying the Persian Gulf states in yuan, with the purpose to be allowed to take their tankers from this area and to receive fuel and gas on their territories. So this is the third and the most important thing that happened during the previous 24 hours. Now we are at the situation when the Middle East states, the Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Iran, Kuwait, Qatar, Bahrain, and the United Arab Emirates, and probably Oman, need to make an important decision, either to accept the payments in yuan or not to accept, but then to continue fighting with the Iranians. But this obviously will not make the situation better. And now the United States of America also needs to make a decision, either to allow the situation to happen when the Middle East states will receive money for oil in yuan, or to carry out the ground operation with the purpose to establish complete control both over the Strait of Mandeb and over the Strait of Hormuz with forces, with ground operation, and to return to the situation back when the oil from the Middle East was selling for US dollars, because this is a very important situation. If for any reason the Chinese yuan is able to take, let's say, this market under complete control, this can lead to unpredictable consequences both to the President of the United States of America and to probably the state and the economy of the United States of America itself. So which means that now the President of the United States of America most likely doesn't have any other option but to reinforce the US positions in this area, to bring additional forces, to bring Marines, to bring Marine expeditionary units in this area with the purpose to unblock both straits, the Strait of Mandeb and the Strait of Hormuz. But the most important problem for the President of the United States of America is that this operation can take place probably just in the middle April of 2026, which means that the next month, the next 30 days, oil from the Middle East region will be sold for Chinese yuans, but not for the US dollars, which is obviously something like a very bad situation for the President of the United States of America. And currently he's not able to do anything with this because he doesn't have enough of troops in this area to start the ground operation immediately. But from the other side, it is very important to understand how the Middle East states are going to act in this situation, whether they are going to accept this reality and to start receiving yuans for oil, or they will wait for the United States of America when they come in this area, and together they will try to unblock the Strait of Hormuz. So Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Qatar, Bahrain, Kuwait, all together, and of course Israel. As for possible situation, how the things are going to develop, most likely the coalition will try to establish control over both straits physically. For example, today we received the reports that Saudi Arabia allowed the United States of America to use Prince Sultan bin Abdulaziz International Airport, so this territory, for military purposes. Furthermore, we received the report that the United Kingdom allowed the United States of America to use Diego Garcia Navy Airport to attack the territory of Iran using heavy bombers. They have already begun doing this. Furthermore, we had a report that the Iranians attacked this territory with ballistic missiles, but there were 2 missiles and 2 of them were destroyed. One of them probably disappeared during the flight, and the second one was destroyed as a result of air defense work. At the same time, we received the reports that the coalition attacked the Natanz nuclear facility. So this territory was attacked by the coalition. This morning, the United States of America and Israel attacked this territory, and right after this situation happened, the Iranians published an article related to the Dimona nuclear facility that is located on the territory of Israel. The Iranians are telling us that most likely likely, if the situation continues deteriorating, they will attack this nuclear facility center on the territory of Israel. So I would like to remind you that several days ago, the Israelis attacked the South Pars gas field, the largest one on the territory of Iran. And when this happened, the Israelis managed to deal significant damage. Now we have satellite imagery shows that two thick columns of black smoke rising from the gas field, along with visible burns, scars on the ground caused by Israel airstrike. And right after this situation happened, the Iranians attacked oil facility through the Middle East. So which means that I'm just trying to tell you that most likely, if the coalition continues attacking objects of nuclear infrastructure through the territory of Iran, most likely the Iranians will try to do the same. Anyway, let's wait and see what is going to happen next. But now the most important thing is what the Middle East states are going to do with yuan and with dollars, whether they're going to accept yuan for oil or not. If it happens, then most likely the United States of America will be forced to intensify their ground operation with the purpose not to allow to happen these things never. Now let's discuss the situation in Ukraine. During the previous 24 hours, we received lots of very important updates, and probably the most important thing is the statement of the commander-in-chief of the armed forces of Ukraine, Alexander Syrsky. He said that Russian troops have increased pressure on several fronts with over 200 clashes in recent days. Ukrainian commander-in-chief Syrsky stated that the Russian superior forces require new asymmetric solutions from Ukrainian forces. And you know that since the beginning of this year, the biggest changes through the map were recorded. But before we started with map changes, another important thing. Today the Russians stated that the Ukrainians once again tried to attack the oil infrastructure and gas pipelines that go on the bottom of the Black Sea. The Russians are saying that the Ukrainians once again attacked these pipelines, and I would like to remind you that European states like Hungary and Slovakia receive oil and gas through these pipelines, and because of those attacks, the authorities of Hungary made lots of statements. If Kiev attacks the Turkish Stream again, Budapest will declare this as state terrorism and take international measures. Another important thing, Hungary's Prime Minister office stated that an attack by Ukraine on the Turkish Stream gas pipeline will be considered an attack on a NATO country, with all resulting consequences for Ukraine. The Hungarian Foreign Minister Peter Sziaro accused Ukraine of organizing an attack on a compressor station of the Turkish Stream pipeline using 22 drones. And I would like to remind you that the Vice President J.D. Vance will visit Hungary in early April, according to the Foreign Minister Peter Sziaro, which means that most likely this question also will be discussed during the upcoming meeting, because if this happens, there are very high chances that NATO will be forced to halt supply and support to Ukraine on the basis of NATO supply. Probably the European countries separately will continue supporting Ukraine, but not through the NATO organization. Now let's discuss the situation on the ground. During the previous 24 hours, as discussed, lots of changes were recorded, and the biggest changes are coming from the Dobropolye direction, where the Russians seems launched their major offensive operation around the settlement of Dobropolye. As you can see, lots of videos were published from this region, and all these videos are just about one thing: how the Russians were bombing and attacking this territory with aviation, trying to reduce to ruin the edge positions and the headquarters and temporary deployment points of FPV drone operators of the armed forces of Ukraine in this region. Lots of icons were published, and according to these icons, we can make a conclusion that after the fall of the settlement of Belitska, most likely the Russians will try to continue offensive operation further, almost till the settlement of Novofedorovka, trying to outflank the city of Dobropolye from the south. Furthermore, the Russians are about to begin advancing further along the second line of settlements Novoalexandrovka, Vasilievka, Mirnaya, Guleva, Shilivka, and Yurivka, also in the northwestern direction, and the Russians are trying to outflank right now the settlement of Sergeyevka. So as we can see, the Russians are planning to advance further in the northwestern direction, in the direction of the Dnipropetrovsk region, trying to outflank the settlement of Dobropolye from the south and from the southwest. Furthermore, during the previous days, additional changes on the ground were recorded to the east and the northeast of the settlement of Dobropolye, and according to these updates, we see that the Russians are trying to avoid the clashes for the settlement of Dobropolye inside of the city itself. They're trying to outflank the settlement from the southwest and from the northeast, and to take this city in pincers, and then probably they will try to take the settlement under complete control by attacking this area from many directions. Another important area is the city of Konstantinovka. During the previous 24 hours, the biggest number of updates and icons we received from this area. The Russians were bombing this territory with aviation and with artillery, but as you can see, without changes on the ground. Right before we started making this video, several neutral mappers adjusted their maps showing the results of the Ukrainian counter-offensive operation that took place in the southwestern part of the city of Chasiv Yar. We will adjust this area before the next video, and then we will discuss everything in details. So everything is not so simple in this area, and the clashes in this area continue. As for the Slaviansk direction, during the previous 24 hours, additional changes on the ground were recorded. This is the end of the 20th of March, and this is the end of the 21st of March. According to different mappers, the Russians improved their positions around the settlement of Fedorovka Druga. According to geolocations and different mappers, the Russians are about to establish complete control over the pockets to the south of the settlement of Riznikovka. We're talking about this territory. These are the changes on the ground. So most likely in coming hours, the Ukrainians would be forced to fall back from this area in the direction of Alexandrovka. Furthermore, the Russians improved their positions in the pockets between the settlements of Kriva Luka, Kaleniki, and Riznikivka as well. So these are the changes on the ground in this area. The Russians are keeping advancing and trying to improve their positions in this region with the purpose to establish complete control over the territory and to begin the battle for the final defense layer of the city of Slaviansk from the east. As for the Liman direction and Izum direction, during the previous 24 hours, additional changes on the ground were recorded in the area of the villages of Sosnovo and Svetogorsk. This information was provided by neutral mappers, and the Russians, as a result of attack, have almost completely destroyed the dam through the river of Oskol in its southern parts. In this video, we can see several strikes that were carried out by Russians. The dam was significantly damaged. Most likely, the Ukrainians lost possibilities to use this area for the logistic purposes. It will take time before the Ukrainians are able to repair this dam, and meanwhile the Russians will try to continue offensive operation with the purpose to get the river of Oskol from the east. This is a very important situation. The Russians are trying to answer to get the river of Oskol and to use this natural barrier as a barrier before before moving further in the southern direction towards the settlement of Studionak, and before the final phase of the battle for the settlement of Svetogorsk itself. The Russians, as we understand, are tasked to establish complete control over this part of the forest, which is located on the Russian side of the rivers of Oskol and Seversky Donets. And when it happens, the Russians will most likely begin advancing in the northern direction with the purpose to attack Ukrainian positions in the village of Borovo from the south. Furthermore, we received additional changes in this area as well, and these are the changes between the dates. The Russians are improved their positions towards the settlements of Druzhelyubivka. We haven't been receiving anything from this area for a long period of time, and it seems that this direction is about to explode once again. As for the Kupiansk direction, during the previous 24 hours, we received lots of updates. According to mainly pro-Ukrainian sources and several pro-Russian sources, the Russians, as a result of the Ukrainian counter-offensive operation in the area of the city of Kupiansk, have almost lost every single position on the Ukrainian side of the river of Oskol. So today we made changes based on the reports that were published by neutral mappers, by pro-Russian sources. The Russians are about to lose complete control over the western bank of the river river Oskol, but at the same time, the Russians are keeping advancing on the eastern bank of the river Oskol, and the Russians are about to establish complete control over the territory to the east of the river. But there are still Ukrainian positions, but the Russians are trying to probably finish the battle for this territory as soon as possible. This will allow the Russians to release troops that could be used probably in the northeastern Kharkiv direction or even in the Liman direction as well. Now let's discuss the situation in the northern directions. During the previous 24 hours, the Russians improved their positions along the border in the most northern parts of the Sumy region. The Russians, most likely in coming days, will be able to take under complete control the settlement of Potapovka, because the Russians are advancing in this area both from the north and from the south. So as we can see, the Russians launched, or the Russians intensify, and the Russian spring military offensive operation is gaining momentum, and most likely in coming days we'll receive more and more updates on this matter. Furthermore, it seems that during the next 24-48 hours, the Russians will also launch a massive missile attack through the entire territory of Ukraine with the purpose to deal significant damage to the entire Ukraine's energy infrastructure. And that's it for today. The Military Summary channel reminds you to condemn any violence in the world. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel, put your likes, join my Patreon, and have a good day. Bye bye.